Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. I'm Shenwa Kimbaloye in Lagos. Well, before we get deep into the matters of the day, Dr. Doyin Okupe has dumped the PDP. The former senior special assistant to former President Goodluck Jonathan, in a statement today, Dr. Okupe says, and I quote, he says that he is leaving the party and it is with deep regret that he publicly announced his resignation from the People's Democratic Party. He says he has to be public because the PDP no longer exists, in his word, as a single unified party. It was when he joined that the PDP was, end of quote now. The politician, who also worked closely with former President Olusegun Obasanjo, went further to say that it is no longer news that the PDP has been embroiled in a fratricidal internal crisis brought upon it by itself, and that its current direction is difficult to discern. He went further to say that he is convinced that even when the much expected judgment from the Supreme Court is given, the future of the party is not likely to be significantly affected whichever way the judgment goes. And also today, the governor of Ekiti State, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, has dissolved his cabinet. Ekiti State Governor, Mr. Fayose, directed the immediate dissolution of the State Executive Council earlier today. All the former commissioners have been directed to hand over to their permanent secretaries in the respective ministries. Last week, his counterpart in Rivers State, Governor Nyesom Wike, did the same by sacking all his commissioners. And now, restructuring is perhaps one of the most used words in the past few days. The agitations we see across the regions of the country have raised some interesting questions about the tender nature of the Nigerian state. Leaders of the different regions are meeting on ways to douse in the very tense atmosphere in the nation. Eminent Nigerians are calling for the restructuring of Nigeria, but the ruling APC seems not to be convinced at the time on that issue. Tonight, we will be asking critical questions on the unity of Nigeria, the role of the ruling APC, and the future of Nigeria. Amidst all of this, the President Muhammadu Buhari has been away in London on medical vacation, a matter that has generated controversies. It's been 57 days since the President left. 56 days on, we hope that the President return in good health. Well, a former minister in Nigeria and now the spokesperson of the All Progressives Congress, Malam Balaji Abdullah, joins us on the program now. Many thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
I mean, to everyone in Nigeria and even outside of Nigeria, one major issue in the front burner is the issue of restructuring. What is the stand of your party on that matter?
Well, I mean, APC is very clear. If you look at our manifesto on the issue of what you call restructuring, APC's agenda is to improve governance and to achieve stronger federalism. So wherever you see APC talk about restructuring, APC is talking about how to improve our federalism, how to make our federalism stronger, and how to bring governance closer to the people and put resources where the majority of Nigerians live. So if you read the manifesto of APC, you will find that every point where it had appeared that APC is talking about, whether it's devolution of power, whether it's restructuring, as it were, the intendment is always that we can facilitate the improvement, or we will facilitate the improvement of our federalism in such a way that governance will get closer to the people.
Because it does look like the party is saying that it's not part of his priority for now. Maybe it's the government saying something else and the party is saying something else. Let's listen to the Minister of Information, who did say on this program that for now, restructuring is not a priority of the Buhari government. Take a listen to him. Okay, maybe let me show, first of all, before we go to that, let me show you this part of the APC manifesto which a lot of people will say, maybe, just maybe, the APC is singing a different tune altogether. The first few lines of the APC manifesto, this is what it says. The party says that it will initiate action to amend a constitution with a view to devolving powers, duties, and responsibilities to state and local governments in order to entrench true federalism and the federal spirit. Are you doing anything that is far from it? You said you have always talked about the issue of how to strengthen Nigerian federalism. But if you look at most of the things that people were talking about in line of this federalism, restructuring, is actually in devolving powers and changing the outlook of our federalism as practiced right now.
No, you see, in the last couple of weeks, the word restructuring had been implicated in all kinds of agenda. To the extent that when someone used the word restructuring at the moment, we cannot assume that we know what they are talking about or what their intentions are. So it is very important for us to unpack the meaning of that word and ask ourselves, when APC says restructuring, is APC saying the same thing as perhaps an Nnamdi Kanu? Right? If APC says restructuring, is APC saying the same thing as those who are talking about regionalization, for example? So it is very clear from the aspect of our manifesto that you just put on the screen that the intentment, like I said earlier, of APC's conversation, the philosophy of APC's restructuring, is intended to improve our federalism in such a way that we can bring governance closer to the people. And that is why if you read our manifesto further, you will see what it actually means. State policing, giving governors the power to nominate the commissioners of police, local prisons to be under the control of the states. You know, these are
start all of those, because if you put a statement in the first part of your manifesto, 2 years down the line, there's no sign that that is going to happen. Let me remind you of what Alhaji Lai Mohammed did say. Maybe this will jolt all of us back to life in how serious or whether the government is going to prioritize what has been an agitation across the nation. Take a listen.
The issue of restructuring probably might come later, but it's not on our front burner right now. Every government will pick its own priority, and I think as a government we know what the issues really are now, and I think I would rather stop there to say that our major concern right now is to ensure the territorial integrity of this country, douse all tensions, ensure that the economy is revived,